Hey guys, and welcome to another Factorio Workshop video. As always, I'm here with Madzuri.
Hi,
You made a mess.
it's your mess now.
Oh great, thanks. Come on, man. You made a mess everywhere. Um, anyway, this video is gonna be uh, different. It's gonna be, we're not gonna be showing off a build. We're gonna be going over something that what we're going to be going over, like server etiquette, pretty much. Things that you should avoid doing on servers for Factorio if you like have any respect for other people there and the server owner, because these are things that will mess it up. And honestly, these practices can be transferred and applied to single player as well, and they will help you just as much. Typically, some of them not so much, but I'll let Zuri start out here with it.
Well, there's a lot of the obvious, I think. Generally don't mess with other people's builds. Be careful with the deconstruction planner, and don't build really, really huge bot orders. But
Y-
other than that, something that most people wouldn't think about is avoid concrete.
yeah, and for people who don't know, why is that?
Well, concrete and stone to a minor degree prevents prevents pollution absorption. So the pollution spreads farther and keeps more chunks active.
Right. Um, so the concrete itself doesn't create lag, which I think a lot of people are mistaken, because they'll see like someone like me or Zuri or something saying, don't do all the concrete, it creates lag, and people's initial thought is, well, I didn't think the concrete itself did create lag, and it doesn't itself, like as an entity being there, but um, indirectly by letting the pollution spread, as Zuri just explained, it does surprisingly create quite a lot of lag in the game, single player and multiplayer.
Yes, it seems to create more lag in multiplayer than it should, and I haven't quite figured out why yet. But one of the main reasons is the active chunks also keeps biters active as well.
Oh yeah, good point. And the biters being active creates lag too. A lot of people think that it is the biter pathing that creates the lag, but actually, one of the devs, actually, or multiple of them, confirmed recently in one of the streams me and Zuri were attending, and people might have known anyway, is that it's actually just the biter's movement, like just them moving around, creates lag. So having all these biters, active in the revealed and active chunks, will create a significant amount of lag in your game.
Yes, and it's from the collision checks of the moving, I think, not the pathing itself.
Right. Yep.
So it may
So
be a good idea to lower or reduce the enemy settings on public maps, or even keep it on peaceful.
yeah, definitely. If you're not set on like having to do combat or whatever, just keeping it on peaceful would be something. Or even if you really don't care about the biters, just remove them. I think there's a couple mods potentially that like just removes them almost entirely and allows you to get the artifacts some other ways. If you want to go that route. And then just a few other things to avoid is kind of obvious. Zuri, you said like don't do like try to avoid huge belt builds and massive balancers and stuff.
Yeah, things like actually this thing we covered over here that intentionally mixes sorts and then buffers items. The increased entity count from the more belts and the more inserters constantly actively calculating is a cause for a lot of lag.
Yep.
People may not like bots, but for really, really big late game bases, you may have to switch from belts to bots where possible, just so that you can increase server performance.
Yep, because for people who don't know, bots do not do collision checks at all, so they just kind of just fly around freely without having to do all these collision checks and stuff that belts do. Um, so yeah, trying to avoid belts. Also, another solution you can do that's still not as effective is just switching to bots. But if you change everything that you can to underground belts, I know it's a pain, but if you do, it can help, because what happens is the game thinks this is two belts. It essentially counts an underground as two belts for the entrance and exit. So essentially you're saving 4 belts worth that would go here if you use normal belt. And that adds up super quick. Like if you have a massive main bus and you just make it all undergrounds from normal belt, it'll add up really, really quick doing this on all your belts.
Yeah, you can. It's noticeable how much that actually helps on big servers.
Oh yeah, definitely. And also a little bit, we had talked before doing a loop system with trains. We went over this in a previous video about loop systems, and it comes back around again, so to speak, for servers and even single player. It is more performance intensive, right?
Yes, loop anything, including belts, will increase number of calculations you need to check, and that includes pipes as well. Like it may seem weird to say avoid loop pipes, but that helps to get rid of those.
Yep, definitely. So I'm trying to think anything else. Mods, I guess, types of mods you should avoid maybe for multiplayer. I believe you said, Zuri, like a lot of things that add in like GUIs, GUIs, and stuff like that.
Yeah, the extra GUIs for some reason requires a bit more server overhead that you wouldn't think it does, and a lot of these, hopefully, they'll fix to make multiplayer more playable. But at the point right now, these are still problems.
Yeah, and then also kind of in that same boat is things that like have to monitor and keep track of stuff. So for example, like YARM, like a resource monitor or something, or anything like that, just that has to constantly keep track of things, like in the map, can definitely add to the lag.
Yeah, things like resource monitor and the logistics monitor systems and the train, smart trains, stuff like that. These all add unnecessary server load.
Yeah, exactly. So, just to clarify for people who might be, confused or whatever, we're not saying don't use mods. We're just saying be careful with the ones you pick and maybe experiment with it and see. So, even like a big mod, like Boz mods or something, I don't really think it adds that many more GUIs, or if it does, you can turn them off. So, like adding just like to the base game with items, it is not really a problem. It's all these additional, like, as we said, GUIs and monitoring systems that'll do it. And
Also, I'm not saying avoid concrete altogether. It's really nice to have pathways.
yeah, yeah, don't. Yeah, Zuri's not saying avoid altogether. You can build paths. It's just, it is surprising, and I'm sure Zuri can agree with me. It is surprising how many multiplayer maps we'll go into, and they've just concreted like the entire base and everything around it, and it's like
Literally everything, yeah.
yeah, it's just like tens, hundreds of thousands of pieces of concrete. And again, the concrete itself is not an issue, but all that concrete is just letting the pollution spread like crazy and get all these chunks and biters active constantly. And really, I'm trying to think. I think that about covers it. It's just kind of general things you may or may not have known that, can, if you're a server thinking of doing a server yourself, or play on servers, things to maybe avoid to just make it run better and make it a better experience for everybody. And yeah, unless there's anything else you can think of for this, Zuri, I think that'll do it for this video.
No, I think that's it.
Alright, sweet. Well, there you go, guys. Different than normal, but next video we'll continue on with builds and stuff, but did feel this was important to cover. Anyway, let us know what you think down in the comments. If you have anything else you've noticed that lags servers or whatever, do let us know down in the comments. Be interesting to find out. And more submissions, as always. But until next time, we will catch you later.
Later.